Hello, the name is D. Welcome back, or welcome in general. Today we do something a little bit different than the usual content I put out. So as we can all tell from my content, I'm a gamer. I like gaming, game fun. But I'm also a part-time weeb. I like some animes, like Cowboy Bebop, Death Note, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and of course, Naruto. So as the title implies, the video is about Naruto, and the best group in Naruto at that, the Akatsuki. This video is an opinion piece, so there will be some speculation and some general implications to make some very controversial statements in the community. So the Akatsuki, one of its members, has, in my opinion, the highest potential in the group, with the potential to become one of the most powerful and broken characters in the series just because of their forbidden technique and what it is implied it can do. Now, some people would assume someone like Nagato, but his abilities are very much fleshed out and known, with Rinnegan being very well explored in Naruto. But I believe the actual character I refer to has higher potential levels than him, and is only potentially matched by Orochimaru after getting the Hashirama cells. That character is the one, the only, the legendary immortal bounty hunter, Kakuzu. So let's dive into what we know about Kakuzu and his abilities. And let's take that information and see what Kakuzu could possibly do with the abilities that he's already been given and how far they can possibly go. So Kakuzu, the oldest living human character at the point in the anime when he appeared, and was effectively immortal, but he would never call it that himself. When one heart would fail him, he would replace it with a new one, extending his life. Now, realistically, he could have probably just taken one heart at a time every time he needed a new one. But he would take multiple, and the most we ever saw was 5. But is this a hard limit? We don't really know. 5 was obviously used in the series at this point because it was showing the difference in chakra natures, and there are 5 natures. This gave Kakuzu access to all 5 natures, making him one of the few characters who can use all 5 nature types. This technique, known as Earth Grudge Fear, allowed him to be essentially the Akatsuki's medical ninja, while also being their treasurer. The black tentacles that are used to hold Kakuzu's body together form his masked beasts and contain the hearts he collects. Were also used to stitch together Hidan and Deidara, and as we see in the series, even after his death, Deidara is still held together by the tendrils that Kakuzu possessed. And really, Earth Grudge Fear is the only technique we need to cover with Kakuzu. His other techniques are almost all attached to it, and it is what gives him his ridiculous untapped potential that we will be getting into. Now, a lot of people like to focus on Earth Spear, which, sure, it makes his skin hard as diamond and whatnot, and is supposedly no physical attack works against him, but really, most physical attacks seem pretty useless against him unless they're bladed attacks in general. They have to be piercing or at least cutting. We've seen him get crushed, and it doesn't really do anything, so there's that. So we'll go ahead and start with the smaller but still impressive aspect of Earth Grudge Fear.
Failed so miserably and had to have his own arm reattached by Kakuzu.
Better losing an arm than his head.
So as I briefly mentioned, the tendrils allow Kakuzu to reattach body parts on not just himself, but others. He was able to reattach both of Deidara's arms and to reattach Hidan's severed head. Now, this may seem simple at first, but this is actually a massive feat that realistically in universe only someone like Tsunade should be able to pull off. Let me take you to a faraway land a long, long time ago. Way back in the day before we were blowing up planets and stuff like that in Naruto. Back when it was something of a story about ninjas and not gods. Remember how Rock Lee had his limbs damaged by Gaara? So severely damaged, in fact, that if Tsunade had not shown up, he would have almost certainly never recovered. Then, even when she did show up, there was a whole plot point that only she could do it, and if they did do it, there was a 50-50 shot, with either him dying or them succeeding on the other side of that 50-50 chance. Well, Deidara's arm was crushed by a much older and likely much stronger Gaara, as well as his other arm was completely severed with a whole chunk being blown out of it by a Kamui. And what did it take to fix Deidara? Kakuzu and a few of his threads reattached his arms and allowed him to still perform hand seals. That means complex nerve pathways had to be repaired. Now, That is impressive, but what is really insane is Hidan. He was decapitated, his spinal cord was severed. The nerve highway of the body, all of the essential nerves travel here. Kakuzu repaired this damage with one move in a few seconds, and Hidan was instantly able to move his body perfectly after being healed. This is realistically a insane level of healing from someone we do not consider a medical ninja at all. And here's some speculation, but never shown or clarified, but we do see with Deidara that a piece of the arm that was destroyed by Kamui was completely replaced with some other piece of arm, be it some poor souls or some artificial piece that is never explained. It can possibly be concluded that Kakuzu can use his threads to bind other people's limbs into a body that has lost them. Much like how he uses other people's hearts, it is not much of a stretch to say if Kakuzu's arm was completely destroyed that he could rip someone else's arm off and transplant it onto himself. And the same for someone he is allied with.
So you are immortal?
No, there's no such thing in this world.
So very obvious, and very much covered by the series. Kakuzu is immortal in a way. 5 hearts, 1 for his body, 4 for 4 separate entities that are made of masses of his tendrils. Now, is 5 the hard limit? It is not said, and it could be, or he could have more, but only be able to fit 5 in his body. So is this not a hard cap, and can he get more? Theoretically, he could have an army of hearts. Now, this does not seem too massive of a thing. The hearts alone are not the most powerful tools, but they do offer a unique advantage to Kakuzu. They allow him to, of course, attack from more than one angle at once, like clones do for other people, but what they offer that makes them truly unique is if Kakuzu dies, they still function autonomously. This is seen when Shikamaru's plan works. Kakuzu's body is dead for several moments before one of his masks reanimates him. If he were using clones or something of the like, he would have dropped and been down permanently along with the clones. But the question is, are the masks autonomous or controlled by Kakuzu? We see early on Kakuzu performs hand seals and the masks do the jutsu for him. But we also see the masks attack and move without Kakuzu doing anything. So maybe a bit of both, but what is obvious is the masks can operate while Kakuzu is dead, and can then reanimate him afterwards. How can this be used to buff him to higher ridiculous levels? Well, if he has dozens or hundreds of hearts on the sidelines waiting to bring him back, that would be very convenient for him, wouldn't it? Why, you may ask? Well, let's get to the next part.
Good eye. Yes, it's true. Physical attacks are virtually useless against me.
Yeah, I know. Kakuzu has a meme around him about durability, but like it or not, he is durable. He got hit by Rasen Shuriken and survived. According to Tsunade, he was damaged on a cellular level, but he was very much alive when Kakashi came to finish him off. Now, he was crippled, unable to move, but he was somehow alive. So what I spoke about in the last bit comes to light here as how much of a problem it could have been. When Kakuzu went down the time before and was brought back, if he had a heart on the sidelines now, would it have been able to jump into him and bring him back to full power? I believe so, personally. Even with the damage being on a cellular level, and here's why. At various points, we see that Kakuzu on the inside is not a human at all. He's tendrils and hearts with a skin suit on. His bones seem to be non-existent, along with other organs. We see in the Great War that when most reanimated get damaged, they turn into ash, then rebuild. But with his arm severed, Kakuzu's tendrils are shown to be able to do all the muscle work for his body. He doesn't even need to turn to ash when damaged, because his damage negation is so high. What I'm getting at is even if all of his current muscles were damaged, immobilizing him, a single heart being put into his body would put new, undamaged tendrils in him. These tendrils could then move to control his body once more, bringing him back into action. Now, this would have been a huge problem in the battle where Kakuzu perished originally, because Naruto was now down and out, Kakashi was winded. Now people will imply Kakashi would have just Kamui'd Kakuzu to kill him. Now, no, that's dumb and wrong, and if you say it, you are also wrong. Allow me to show you a quick clip that shows why that isn't true. How was Kakashi going to Kamui Kakuzu and save himself in this situation? We see Kamui struggle to consume one of Pain's missiles and a nail later with more experienced Kakashi, but yeah, I'm sure he would have had enough Kamui to consume this entire amped fire technique, then kill Kakuzu after. Also, if he was going to use it to kill Kakuzu, why didn't he use it to kill Pain? Pain's almighty push wouldn't be able to, stop Kamui. So, yes, Kakuzu is very durable. And with extra hearts on the sidelines, he can be healed to essentially perfect condition, save for whatever heart was lost. This makes him a massive threat, which we already knew he was a massive threat because of his ability to reanimate himself. But, again, if all of the tendrils act as muscles for him, because we see he has no muscles, even if you destroy all the tendrils in his body, if new tendrils get into his body, what's stopping them from controlling it? Nothing.
Well then, I'd better shift to a long-range attack style.
That's not just a transformation. That's a huge amount of chakra.
Of all the non-tailed beasts and human characters in the series, Kakuzu has the highest stamina and the highest chakra level. He has 5 reservoirs of chakra thanks to the hearts, and never seems to get tired during fights we see him partake in, be it against the Two Tails, against
It's been 30 minutes already. Aren't you done yet?
against an entire monastery of monks.
I'm taking him to the collection office. I want the bounty. Money comes first.
Or against Kakashi and the rest of the team who showed up to kill him and Hidan, including Naruto. The only character who I would say rivals his stamina is the third Raikage, who was able to fight 3 days and nights straight without stopping, but we never see Kakuzu in a drawn-out battle, so it's hard to say. Especially with chakra having such a high effect on stamina in the series, as we see with Kasame and the Tailed Beasts being able to combat fatigue with chakra, and Kakuzu has a lot of chakra. So finally, we're going to get to the ultimate potential of Earthgrudge Fear.
It's a ticket to damnation, my friend.
Well, after all, they say that money talks wherever you go.
So as we know, he gathers hearts, confirmed at 5, but potentially more in reserve. We do not know the true peak potential, but here, allow me to do a thought-provoking demonstration for you. Chakra, as presented here, is stored in one's heart, and each person has a nature type. But each person also has different chakra reserves. Some people have more chakra than others. It's just how the series is. So let's say the average is 100. 100 chakra for an average no-name Jonin. If Kakuzu takes 5 no-name hearts, that's 500 chakra. Now, we also know some people like the Uzumaki clan are known to have massive reserves of chakra. So if the average is 100, if Kakuzu took a bunch of hearts that are slightly above average, or double the average, so let's say 200 chakra reserve hearts. Now he has 1,000 chakra. This alone is insane, but is not the most wild thing about the jutsu. No, the most wild thing is really a huge issue because of Orochimaru. Orochimaru spent years trying to become immortal and assimilate people's techniques into his body, but if he just looked at Kakuzu, he would have found the answer in both. Kakuzu is immortal, and with his jutsu, he can assimilate KK Genkai very easily. Say Kakuzu killed an Uchiha, then took their eyes. We see he has the medical ability to attach limbs, which have advanced nerves and stuff that needs to be reconnected. So in theory, he could probably put some eyes in his own head. Or have someone else do it if you really think somehow that he can't, but let's be honest, Rin was able to do it for Kakashi, while still being a Genin. Now you might think, ooh, chakra fatigue on a non-Uchiha, like we see with Kakashi. Not really that impressive. Well, you see where this is going, right? The heart holds the chakra of the person it came from. So if Kakuzu took someone's Sharingan and their heart, he would have the Sharingan with no fatigue, because he'd be using Uchiha chakra to power it. It gets worse. So Kakuzu can make versions of Scorch Release when he combines fire and air with his masks on the outside of his body. Well, this is where I believe the difference from KK and combos come in, and I'm pretty sure the series also agrees with the whole Rasen Shuriken being wind and, chakra, and then we also see Yamato throw water into it and it creates something to counter Scorch, kind of makes an ice technique maybe, but so basically to do a combo you have to combine 2 chakra elements on the outside of your body, and when they combine it creates Scorch, or pseudo Scorch is what we could call it. But with people who have the KK Genkai, say Scorch Release or ice release, they can combine the two elements inside their body, and when they release it, it becomes that element. It's already that element, making it more pure, really. So if Kakuzu took the heart of someone like Haku, then the mask it makes will be proficient in wind and water, plus be able to do ice techniques. This means as long as Kakuzu has that heart in his body, he could perform ice techniques. So in theory, Kakuzu could do what Orochimaru struggled to do. All he would need is someone's heart. And their eyes, if they're an Uchiha. With the heart of an Uchiha and their eyes, he would have the Sharingan without fatigue. With the heart of someone like the Mizukage, he would have access to lava and boil release, plus all the related chakra natures that are applied to that. Do you see how broken this is going to get? Like I said, if we call the average 100 on chakra levels, then what is someone like Madara or Hashirama? What is Naruto, Sasuke, Kasame? If Kakuzu went out collecting the hearts of the strongest people, he could have a reservoir of chakra that would be outlandish. He could have jutsu beyond comprehension. The potential to have multiple Kekkei Genkai with minimum effort. No need to fuse bodies every 5 years. No need to become whatever Kabuto became. With access to the chakra of the hearts he steals, Kakuzu could collect at least 5 Kekkei Genkai. Then if we add in the fact that it's possible he can have more than 5 hearts, just not in his body at once, then the fact he can repair even severed and crushed limbs with ease, and the fact he can live forever. If Kakuzu in the series was motivated by power and not money, if he had the same goals as Orochimaru, he would have obtained those goals before Orochimaru was even born. But luckily for the characters of Naruto, Kakuzu was motivated by money, not power.
I'm not giving up my bounty.
So yeah, take it with a grain of salt if you like, or take it seriously, but with simple mathematics and, not really big leaps of faith here, it's pretty well connected. Kakuzu has more potential than any other member of the Akatsuki, and more potential than most characters in Naruto in general. He's already one of the most well-rounded Akatsuki, with similar stats and everything except for Genjutsu. He's fast, he's strong, he's smart, hell, smart enough to outsmart Kakashi and Shikamaru more than once. Which is also why I will go ahead and say real quick, Naruto killing Kakuzu is obvious plot convenience. As we all should know by now, Kishimoto was getting rushed, and that is why it ended the way it did. Kakuzu could determine the potential of being shadow grabbed by Shikamaru with enough foresight to hide one of his hearts in the ground. He also knew to attack a bird that was flying behind him because he thought maybe it was watching him. Like, why did he do that? Well, you don't know. But when Naruto came at him with the career-ending move that we saw, he decides to throw everything he has into one attack on what could have been a clone. And even if it wasn't, if he missed, he would have been doomed. Hell, if he just left his 2 masks facing behind him while doing that tentacle attack, he could have covered his rear. But nah, he had them face forward too, despite not using them in the attack. But yeah, it makes sense for Kakuzu to go from playing 8-dimensional chess to playing checkers in the span of an episode or a chapter. Not at all plot convenience. Allow me to just put in a couple of, quick possibilities of how Kakuzu could have handled this better. Not jump in the air and slam all his tentacles into the ground while having his mask face Naruto. If he just had these masks here pointing backwards, they could have shot him like they did other times. Being able to hear a jet engine come up behind him, essentially. I don't know, firing off more wind blasts and more scorch attacks from long distance. I don't think Naruto would be able to dodge all of them. Do that thing where he put his tentacles underground and have them grab Naruto again, and that's fine. Not have all his masks in his body, because if they're split up, he can attack from more angles, and if he does get killed, they can jump in and heal him. But if they get blown up too, he's fucked. There's so many options for what he could have done better here. So yeah, in the end, Kakuzu got written out to rush the series forward. He has an extremely untapped potential, and his death is by far the least deserved of the Akatsuki. His IQ had no reason to drop. He left his back open to an attack for no reason. There's a reason the only other times he was damaged at all in any fight that we ever saw him in was because he was surprised. No one could land a frontal blow on him. Not even Kakashi. But I guess we have to live with Kishimoto rushing the series ahead and giving one of the more interesting villains a weak death. One of the few villains taught no jutsu would have never worked on. Though if someone brought some cash, he could have probably been turned to the light. Or at least to the better paying side. Is this how you do an outro? Yeah, I think so. Also, a side note that really makes Kakuzu interesting among Akatsuki and especially villains in Naruto, he never loses his cool. When everyone else starts losing their fight, they start going insane. Hidan starts screaming. Deidara yells that this isn't art and blows himself up. Everyone else loses their cool. Kakuzu never once gets worried. As Shikamaru said, he's one cool customer. Also, why did he suddenly start trying to kill Naruto as soon as he saw him, despite telling Hidan multiple times we can't kill the Jinchuriki?
Knock it off. Our mission is clear and absolute.